Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving straight into something that is absolutely crucial for any student, discovering exactly how to construct a perfect factual essay using a foolproof blueprint. We're going to break down the pure mechanics of clear, informative writing. Think of it like building a house, right? You need a solid foundation, a really strong frame, and the right materials so it stands up to scrutiny. Let's get into it.
Now, you know that awful feeling staring down a completely blank page while the exam clock is just ticking away. If you or your child have ever felt that kind of intense exam anxiety, you are definitely not alone. It's so incredibly common to just freeze up when you're asked to explain a complex topic from scratch. The pressure mounts, your mind goes blank, and suddenly, writing a simple essay feels like climbing Mount Everest. But honestly, it doesn't have to be this way at all.
So here's our game plan for today. We're going to completely demystify this process. We'll start with what expository writing actually is, move on to our structural master blueprint, cover the key language you need, look at a practical example about frogs, and finally run through some top-tier tips for surviving those timed tests. All right, kicking things off with Section 1, what is it? Let's define expository writing. So what exactly are we building here? Well, at its core, an expository article is all about facts. It clearly answers the what, how, and why of a topic. But here is the absolute golden rule. No personal opinions allowed. You literally have to leave your feelings at the door. Your primary goal is just to be a tour guide of facts, helping your reader learn about a topic in a highly organized, logical way. Moving right along to Section 2, the blueprint. Let's talk about structure and flow. Like we said, if facts are your bricks, this quick formula is the sturdy frame holding your house together. It is super straightforward. You need a specific title, a direct introduction, solid body paragraphs for your main points, and a neat conclusion. Your intro? Just briefly present the topic and tell the reader exactly what to expect. There is no need for wild suspense here. Just be direct from the very first sentence. Now, for those body paragraphs, you can't just dump a list of random facts on the page and walk away. You've got to actually explain them, give relevant examples, and ideally, use subheadings to keep the whole shebang organized. Each paragraph should cover just one main aspect. You present your point, back it up with a cold hard fact, and explain how it connects to the bigger picture. Okay, on to Section 3, key language. Time to look at tone and vocabulary. When it comes to your tone, ditch the chatty slang immediately. Instead of writing something totally subjective like, I think frogs are super cool, you want to pivot to an objective, formal style. Something like, frogs play an important role in nature. See the difference there? You want to rely heavily on the third-person point of view and frame your statements with real authority. Here's another massive rule to remember. Stick to the present tense. Since you're writing about facts, you have to write as though they are always true. You wouldn't say bees collected nectar because, well, they still do it today. Saying bees collect nectar gives your writing a sense of permanent, reliable truth. It's a hallmark of a great expository piece. To keep your building blocks from falling apart, you're gonna need linking words. These are literally the street signs for your reader. Depending on what you're trying to do, you'll use different tools. Showing a process? Use sequence words like firstly or next. Explaining why something happened. Grab cause and effect phrases like therefore or as a result. They guide your reader seamlessly from one thought to the next. Let's see all of this in action with Section 4, the frog example, focusing on chronological sequence. Think about how perfectly a subject like a life cycle works when you organize it into a chronological sequence. Egg stage, tadpole stage, growing legs, and finally becoming adult frogs. Chronological order is an absolute game changer here because the reader naturally follows the progression of time. It just makes logical sense, and clear subheadings for each stage make it incredibly reader-friendly. You'll also want to nail the technical vocabulary, words like metamorphosis, gills, algae. Using precise, subject-specific words makes your writing sound authoritative and professional. But hey, it's a balancing act. If you use a really complex word, do your reader a solid and define it right then and there. It's about sounding smart while remaining totally accessible. All right, the final stretch, Section 5, timed test tips. Let's talk about writing under pressure. Knowing the formula is great, but applying it when the clock is ticking, that requires strategy. First up, quick planning. Before you even write a single sentence, read the prompt carefully. Then, jot down your main structure quickly using just a few keywords. Oh, and please, skip the overly dramatic, flowery openings. The examiners just want you to get straight to the facts. And right before you hand that paper in, you've got to do a final inspection. Give yourself just a couple of minutes at the very end to run through a mental checklist. Are your spelling and punctuation correct? Is your paragraphing clear? Did you accidentally slip into using I or we? Catching these tiny little errors can literally save you a ton of marks and ensures your final piece is super polished. So, if you can truly internalize this blueprint, you'll be able to clearly and confidently explain absolutely anything the world throws at you, even with a ticking clock. Help your child practice more writing formats and times tasks with Path to Selective by visiting www.pathtoselective.com today. Because once you know exactly how to build the perfect factual house, the real question becomes, how do you persuade people to actually step inside? We might just have to tackle that one next time. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and happy writing.